Tonight on RGB, we dive into the twists and turns of the music industry with our RGB panel and discuss what really goes on when an artist signs on the dotted line. Molweni, hello, Winnie. Welcome to Africa's hottest ticket to all the gossip that's fit to whisper about, the Real Goboza. And Gosman Gos joiner for the special music industry edition of the show. As always, my co-star, riding shotgun, circle of life looking,
Yes.
Samora Mangesi.
Nkosi Mansisi, it's always a pleasure to share your company. Nkosi nakuwe apho emakaya for tuning into our look behind the curtain to learn why so many performers are saying thanks, but no thanks to their record labels.
Now, from Emtee to Fifi, Cooper and Benchmark, as Peli Bandu Indaba regarding artists trying to split from their record labels.
And here to discuss the alleged theft from artists, destructive fine print in contracts, and what it really means to be signed, samkela panelists zethu namhlanje ku RGB. Siqala ngo Priddy Ugly.
Yo!
Yes, sir. Lungi Naidoo.
Hey!
As well as Mr. Emtee.
What up?
Yes!
Emtee, first of all, I just want to say, Puti, you are looking really good. I mean, it's a competition between you looking good as you are now and Mandela when he was coming out of prison in 1990 as to who was looking better.
You have achieved freedom.
Yes!
Thank you.
Congratulations on your freedom.
Thank you. Appreciate
How
it.
does it feel to finally be free when you have been wanting this freedom for so long?
It feels good. It feels good. I'm able to think for myself now, and I'm able to put myself out there in a good way, and just put out my real character.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, and just be flexible when it comes to working with whoever I want to work with.
Oh,
Yeah.
While we're on the congratulations spree, you're about to be a papa.
Yes,
How does that feel?
It feels great. I mean, myself and my partner are celebrating like 10 years together. So it's only dope that in our 10th year we're celebrating the release of our album, our launch of our company, and now our baby that's on the way. So it's
But would you
Not
like
cut out for this love thing because
Yeah.
10 years sounds like a lot to me.
And Sis Lungi? Kasixelele wena into kubana kwenzeka ntoni ebomini bakho?
Freedom.
Music, kaloku.
Yes.
Freedom is here. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It really, really is. More than anything, like Emtee was saying, the freedom to be who you are as an artist completely with no boundaries.
Yes.
And that's where I'm at as well.
All right.
So, going back to, because the freedom seems to come from the fact that record labels, take advantage of artists or have predatory contracts. Yindoni ngxaki, actually.
Well, I think if somebody's going to put their money into your art, they kind of have the first say. I think that's the first thing that happens. Even though it's not communicated when you walk through the doors, it's not put up front when you walk through the doors. You get the contract because you're that good and they want you there. But once you're there, you kind of lose all control of everything, basically.
So when you were starting out, what is the one thing that you wish you had known before signing with the record label?
Man, that contract and the power of saying, I don't want this in here. Please take this out and put this in here. I didn't know that. I didn't know I have the power to actually do that. You actually are the machine that will make the money for the record company.
Yes.
But when you get in there, it's everything becomes reversed. And so I'm a little bit smarter in that sense that I know, Woodsie, they actually needed me more than I needed them.
Now, Priddy Ugly, I see that you are, nodding your head quite a bit. Do you agree with what she's saying?
I totally agree, but I think it's all contextual, right? When it comes to contracts, it's all about your obligations as an artist and the record label's obligations as the record label.
Right.
Yes.
And where lines start to be blurred, where it's either the artist has obliged and committed all their obligations, or the label has and the other party hasn't. In my situation, is we agreed on a lot of things. A lot of things are word of mouth, and there's certain things that are on the contract, right? Which will be the management part of it, the publishing side of it, and the artist, the music release of it, you know? So I had a plan with the record label, and, you know, I was there for a year, and I've never spoken about it openly, but like 80% of the things that we set out to do had not been done.
Now, Emtee, we also saw you have a very public struggle with your record label, trying to break away. We had seen a lot of other artists from the same record label trying to break away, and you were considered to be the golden boy. Or what other...
If all the children are running away, you know you're not a good parent.
But I mean, Emtee was the one who, you know, was essentially what everybody was saying was the cash cow.
From the outside looking in.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell us, what was the main driving force for you to want to break away?
Well, for me, it's like I stayed with hopes that things would get better. With hopes that one day I'll see myself where I want to be. And sadly, it didn't happen. So I was like, I ain't most this thing.
So when they were going through their struggles, the artists who left before you, now you were going through the struggle, but thinking, let me give it one more chance.
Yes,
So
ma'am. It has never been nice.
Ay, ninani.
I won't lie.
Wow.
And I can attest to it as well. I mean, I've been there, and you know, a lot of us artists in the industry, not just in the record label, go through the same thing. It's just that, you know, a lot of us feel isolated, and it's like it's your own problem, and you don't feel like other people are going through the same problem, so you don't speak about it.
If a parent is listening, what would you say they need to look out for if their child is interested in entering this industry but could then fall prey to predatory contracts?
Well, see, it's tricky because me personally, my parents didn't want me to take part in music and whatnot. And looking at it today, I don't blame them. You know, at the same time, I wanted to do this so much because I was passionate, and I really, really wanted to do it because it's the only thing I really knew that I'm good at. You know, so. Excuse me, what was the question again?
The question was, what would you say a parent should look out for if their child is interested in the industry?
You know, as much as our parents don't really want us to take part in it, at the same time, I feel like they should also, you know, hold our hands through the process. You know, through the process where, because lafika ixesha where into zabantu abadala need to be looked at. You know, even within the contracts, within the papers, my CEO and my parents need to coexist. At some point,
I must speak as a woman in the music industry. There are things that there are things that women have to do in this industry, and we all know it happens. But nobody will talk about it.
And you don't
openly.
want that for your child.
And I don't want that for my child. And to come back to what Priddy said, imagine if every artist, it doesn't matter an artist that's established or not established, if every artist told the truth about what we go through in this industry, maybe then the government will actually look at us and look at us as people that are actually valuable in this country, because we are used and thrown out.
For me now, my whole thing is already from grassroots level, from when we're raising our kids, we should already be instilling in them the sense and the pride of ownership and leaving legacy.
We'll have more from our panelists later on in the show.
Pasibuya, it's all about labels. Don't miss out.
Coming up, our panel keeps the expose rolling as we learn about the ins and outs of record labels.
Bantu, welcome back to Africa's gossip leader, the Real Goboza, and our examination into the music nation. Because we are poswa.
Our panelists are still Priddy Ugly, Lungi Naidoo, as well as Emtee. And at the risk of seeing flames, tell us what you think of record labels. Hashtag Real Goboza. Phambi kokuba siphinde singene ke kule conversation yethu ndifuna ukubuza, what is the difference between having a record label and them managing you or whatever, and having a manager?
So now what record labels want to do now, or what
Yes.
most record labels do, is that they want you to sign a 360 deal. 360 means I have like 300% ownership of what you do. So in music, you have the artist side. They want to sign you as the artist. Then they want to sign your publishing, which is the copyright, what you actually write, the music that you write. They want to own that. That's the publishing side. Then they want you to sign to them under management so that they can make sure that they keep all the money to themselves. So what they're trying to avoid is you having your own separate manager and then only signing a label deal, because they know that most of your money is going to come from your endorsements and shows, what your manager or management will be getting. So now the label wants that as well. So hence signing the 360 deal, you know, which is...
Emtee, was your deal with your previous record label like that?
I wouldn't know, because till this day, I've never had a manager.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a lot of loopholes, you know, within what has been happening within my career. So it's just a lot of things that I, till this day, don't understand.
So who was performing the role that us as outsiders would see as the manager, the person who makes sure you're on stage at this time, the person who's taking your bookings, the person who's preparing invoices? Job.
Well, it was an entity of people, really, mainly from the label. It was surprising for me. One time I'd hear A saying they're my manager, then I hear B saying they're my manager. So I never really paid much attention into it. And
there wasn't a lot of clarity.
yeah, and so till this day, I never really had someone I can call my manager.
We did have other artists here sitting on the seat of superstars, and they were talking about their experiences with one very specific record label about how they would go and perform, and the money would, I'm guessing they had a 360 deal.
Right.
The money from the performances never actually made it into their pockets.
Sure.
They were paid
A monthly
stipend
or an
or
allowance.
a
Yes.
salary of some sort.
That's true.
How do you then discuss how many performances we're going to be having in a month, Emtee?
Yo, I don't know how that is discussed or planned out, but as Priddy said, you know, these days we're depending on promoters to book us. You know, so depending on like how many bookings you get a week or a weekend or whatever, that will determine, you know, the outcome. But then I wouldn't know much because, as you said, you know, what you just spoke about is kind of like the same, you know, thing that I went through. Like, go to a show, all you know is that you have to perform and get there, show up, and then the aftermath, you never know what goes on after that.
The deal with the record label, when you go and you perform, is there no conversation about, okay, guys, this is how much I'm getting from this gig?
For me, I agreed with them that I wouldn't sign, I don't want a salary. I want to be paid from my shows and from my endorsements. I already had endorsements even before signing to the record label. And then what started happening is that I'm doing shows every weekend, and I was the one artist who'd ask for my invoices, who'd ask for my booking sheet. And I know of certain promoters who paid me X amount, say 10,000 Rand, but my booking sheet says 2,000 Rand, you know? And even so, then I'm only getting my money at the end of the month. And it's like, I don't want my money at the end of the month. I'm doing 2 shows, 3 shows this weekend. Just take your cut and give me my money.
I need that money by the end of the song.
That's not what happened, you know? And that's what ultimately led to me leaving, because I started going months without receiving my money now.
So who actually owns the stuff? What are the actual terms that you agree on before you start vroom vroom?
Well, for me, I come from like nothing, zero, even -0 if there's anything of that sort. So when certain things were given to me, it was like, hey, people love me that much. Like, I come from a shack, yo. Giving me an apartment, well, how can I say no?
Right.
You know, you're giving me a car. Oh, the tricky part is that conversation never happens really. It's just like, tata, keep it moving.
Yeah.
you know.
How much of the pressure outside do we need to push on these record labels to make sure that you guys as artists actually get what is due to you?
I come back to the government involvement in music as the music industry in this country. The record labels that are successful are international record labels. They just have hubs in South Africa and they just use that to promote international music. But the care for South African music is not priority to them at all. So I just feel like if the government got involved in the artists, in the art that's created in this country, that it would change so many things. I can't buy a house. I can't buy a car. Yes, I can make the money, but I'm paying taxes.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like every time I perform, it's taxed. You know, so to come back to what Emtee was saying, 99.9% of artists, talented artists, start at -0. We come in hungry, we come in talented, but we leave broke and broken. You know, it's just. I'm just gonna get emotional. Let's just give me some positivity. Give me some positivity.
Samara ingati izibilini zihayi masithathe ikhefu. But we'll continue with the finger pointing, man.
Get some tea, tweet something. We'll be right back.
After the break, our panel concludes its dissection of the music industry with a look at contracts.
Okay, ke bantu sayiqukumbela incoko yethu on the SA music industry and its dark corners apha ku RGB.
From getting a cell phone to a new job, you have to know when to sign on the dotted line. The industry yomculo is no different, but it helps if you know what to look out for.
You mentioned that one of the hurdles in the industry is DJs, you know, and radio compilers and things like that. Yeah, I've been experiencing those situations where you gotta grease a few hands.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if you, for people who are not watching, but if you're in the industry, you know that the record labels own, you know, the majority of what plays on the big broadcasting stations, you know, because like we need to play the mandate, we need to play international music, we need to play music that's going to get people to come play for adverts and for the record, for the station to make money, etc., you know. But like the issue comes then when like, back when hip hop started, you know, like the DJ played what was hot in the streets, what the kids were doing. Now, you need to be cool for the DJ to play you. You need to have an X amount of followers for them to play you. You need to maybe buy them a drink for them to play you. And I'm not just speaking on my behalf. This is me. I'm speaking on everyone else's behalf.
In addition to the industry just being dirty, muddy waters that need people to be bribed and paid off and all of that, then you come as a woman.
It starts in the studio, and then it starts in the record company, and it goes to now you have to be played, and you're getting phone calls directly from the compilers, or you're getting phone calls from the DJ. Coffee, let's have some coffee. And you're thinking, oh, he wants to have coffee with me. You know, he really loves my music. And you get there and it's like, I'm a dumb cop from Ep13. I was raised on a farm. And
so you go in with that naive.
You go in with that naive, trusting somebody at face value. First, this is really about the music. This has got nothing to do with Lungi because she's pretty, or, you know, it's got nothing to do with that. You're honestly thinking, I'm here because this person believes in my gift and my talent is about the music. And I'm a slow learner, so Bambale to Guti, oh, is that what he wanted? Oh, is that? And it got to a point where DJ Skremeza on Ukhozi FM interviewed me and he blatantly said, Lungi, la kutumuguta ulali ngomhlani. That's why you're not famous. He said that on radio in an interview, and I had people calling, and it's just so sad, Guti, there's so many women who quit the industry, talented individuals, men and women, boys as well, because boys right now fall under the same trap of men wanting to be special treatments with straight men. Yeah. You know, it's dirty, it's ugly. And again, I'm gonna say this, we need an intervention in this music industry to protect the 16-year-old kids who are singing on pop idols, these kids who are coming to the industry, talented individuals in this country who are coming to this industry, boys and girls who have no idea what this industry is about.
What is the one thing that a young artist needs to look out for when it comes to signing a contract? I
think, for me, number one is how long the contract is. I think like a fair contract, just this is my opinion, a fair contract in this day and age should be a year. 2-3 years, anything more than that doesn't make sense. Some record labels would say they're signing you for a year, but they own your music for the next 10 years. So those are like small fine print that you usually don't see. So how long it is, the percentage split of your entity, which is like your music, and I still feel like the artist should own the majority percentage.
Who owns your music currently?
I do. I don't care what contracts say what.
Yes.
I own my music. And Raf owns the beats. Shout out to Raf.
So, Lungi, having gone through a legal battle with your record company, what is the recourse?
At first, they would not let me go. I signed they wanted a 4-album deal, but I signed a 2-album deal. I only released 1 album with them. There were internal situations that were causing them to kind of keep me there, and they wanted me to release 1 more album to pay back the money that they had given me. And it was not an advance, it was because I was being evicted and I needed money to pay my back rent. So they were giving me money because they don't like bad publicity, basically. You know, so they'll pay things just to kind of shut you up. So when I wanted to leave, it became a struggle to a point where I went into such deep depression because I'm not working, but I'm posting Instagram pictures just to keep my fans up and trying to show promoters that I'm active so that, you know, they can book me so I can perform here and there. But internally, so my instance, it got so bad that my story ended up on the news. So my record company internationally found out about what was happening in South Africa. And they were like, we are right now supporting the Me Too movement. We can't have this publicity out there. So pay for her lawyer. Ask her to find whichever lawyer she wants, pay for the lawyer, and figure this thing out. What you guys are doing is wrong. And that came from outside the country.
What is one thing that you would tell a young boy that's coming from your exact situation and wants to be the next Emtee or wants to enter the industry?
Hey, I wouldn't want to crush, anyone's dream because I personally also have been warned. But because Mukanda Shisa and I'm passionate and I make music, I just didn't care what, I felt like people who were warning me and stuff like that were distractions. So, it's different strokes for different folks, Okay. It's just sad that we are in, the times that we are in, the last days. So, never stop, really. It's all within.
Thank you so much to our panelists, Priddy Ugly, Lungi Naidoo, as well as Emtee for giving us their time, as well as their knowledge. To any would-be artists watching, here ends the lesson. But feel free to add your own points to that chat on our social media pages. On Facebook, we're on official Real Goboza, or on Instagram and Twitter at official RGB. And don't forget to use that hashtag, Real Goboza.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.